Old friendships have stood the test of time. Time lends itself to second careers. This is a story of both. And of course, bugs. 5 decades ago, I met my pal Dana, my oldest childhood friend, dive buddy, and fellow outdoorsman, and for several decades now, professional lepidopterist.
Here we go. Here's a mating pair of checker spots. That's a really good sign. That means courtship and mating and reproduction is occurring.
I, John, have spent more than 3 decades making and helping others to make wildlife films. And now, in my semi-retirement, Dana and I have teamed up again to tell a story that we started more than 20 years ago.
Boy, such a butterfly-filled meadow. Reminds me of those trips back with June and Floyd Preston. Those were wonderful days.
Butterfly madness is what some called it, but for Floyd and June Preston, it was a second career. As humans continue to alter the environment from its natural state, much of the world's biodiversity is at risk. Through their exhaustive efforts to document a varied fauna over an enormous geographic range, the United States, they created an impressive collection of butterflies, which now resides at the McGuire Center for Biodiversity in Florida.
Well, my one trip to the lower Rio Grande, which is such a rich butterfly location, was to join June and Floyd Preston in their later field days and to help them acquire some of the last remaining species on their checklist of the national series of butterflies that they're trying to accumulate for the Allen Museum, now the McGuire Center in Florida.
I was fortunate enough to have tagged along with Floyd, June, and Dana on 2 occasions. Once to the Los Padres National Forest, and once to Mission, Texas, not long before their last collecting trip.
No, that's not it. That's something different. Hey.
That's a
that's a
Panokina something.
Yeah, that's a Lucas, I think.
I don't think so. I think it's just an Ocala.
Ocala? Okay, well, we'll see when we get back.
June and Floyd Preston impressed and inspired me when I first met them in the early 90s by their dedication to documenting North American butterflies and their true love of what they did there with their nets in the outdoors.
Floyd and June would spend 1/2 of each year in pursuit of new species or subspecies. The other half would be spent cataloging, spreading, and making this year's catch ready for delivery to the McGuire Center. During their second career as lepidopterists, they were among the world's foremost authorities on butterfly identification.
They keep changing things.
Well, yeah, first of all, it's a moving target because of taxonomy. New things get named. Some species subspecies get
eliminated.
Eliminated, but some of them get upgraded to species status. And then there is the circumstance of a normal asymptotic growth curve where you start out, it's difficult at first, and pretty soon you catch on, and then it gets easier and easier and easier, and you're going great guns, and then first thing you know, you sort of reach a limit, and it levels off. So those last few are very, very difficult to come by.
But this year we got a couple of brand newly named subspecies.
Yeah, one of the things that has helped us, as I mentioned to Dana several times, is our association with other people. We call it our collection, but it's because of the help of many, many different people.
Historical collections have often been the initial source of scientists' data and knowledge, a starting place for environmental custodians to begin species restoration and management. A specific example is this early Taylor's checker spot collection, now under the purview of the entomology program at Oregon State University. This sampling provided some of the initial data for many of the conservation decisions that affect this now endangered population.
Prolific native meadows in western Washington and Oregon are largely gone due to various forms of infiltrating weeds and other species and human development for human needs. However, we still have two extant populations in Oregon, which I've been following for 20 years now, and several others that are hanging in there in Washington. But it's much reduced, and now it's the Fish and Wildlife Service and partners, private landowners, who are managing things, and the whole idea is to bring this subspecies from a state of federally endangered, downlist that to threatened, and ultimately to off the list.
Dana has spent better than 2 decades in these Oregon meadows, counting, observing, and occasionally collecting specimens. His field experience and scientific input over the same time have helped to guide the conservation partners in making good management decisions. Dana's understanding of the nuances of the topic helped to determine next steps in restoration efforts, like which areas would be best suited for selective logging to facilitate native grass replanting, and thus expanding the habitat that the checker spots can grow into.
2024 represents the third of 3 delayed springs, which impacts butterflies and other prairie species. And yet here at Bazell, with the restoration work that's been done, the population here seems very resilient and the numbers look good.
Dana's area of expertise is conservation through preservation of living species, with focus on the butterflies and moths of Oregon and their habitats to potentially help prevent extinction. Floyd and June's conservation effort was to collect and preserve each and every species and subspecies in North America, north of Mexico, in a museum collection in the event of extinction. These two complementary methodologies helped to forge a decades-long friendship.
That's it.
Looks like maybe.
Well, you earned your keep.
Yeah, the hind wing's messed up on that one.
Well, that's still okay.
Still a good bug.
Yep.
Okay. This one's the genus?
Heliopyragus.
Yeah, the Prestons were very prepared. They had this incredible itinerary for their entire expeditions, and this portion of it, where I joined them, they knew exactly what habitat areas to go to, which still had pristine, beautiful flowers and resources for the butterflies. And we were targeting the late season, just post-hurricane actually, conditions where the plants burst forth and the butterflies come out in a new brood, and Mexican species will come out and move northward in great abundance. So at these choice localities, one a World Birding Heritage Site and another a state park that was a beautiful remnant of habitat and butterflies, we came across a number of the butterflies that they were after.
Boy, it's a nice fresh one. So washed out, but they look like.
I was very pleased to be able to be their legs and nets at times where they couldn't get to where they wanted to catch something, given that they were well into their 80s at the time.
That is Nisei.
All right, that's a better bug.
Mm-hmm, it's a better bug.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most museums build up their collections from amateurs like we are who donate our material to the museum because the museums don't have time or resources to send people out to collect all over the country.
That we collect in many out-of-the-way places, and some of those may later become areas that are either being destroyed or potentially destroyed, and the specimens there will be the only record of those areas. And so, in a sense, we're conserving the record of the existence of those butterflies at those locations. I was fortunate to be able to complete my career as a petroleum engineer, but in a sense this is a second career for us because we do it full-time, not only when we're out in the field, but when we're home. We spend, I'd say, most of our waking hours
Working with butterflies.
working with the butterflies.
Passion, purpose, and maybe a bit of butterfly madness motivated the Prestons during their retirement. Floyd told me while we were in Texas that they felt they had collected about 92% of all North American species. An impressive accomplishment and a huge contribution to science.
And you have a custom camper.
Yes.
And you get there, you park the camper and you rent a car. So how many miles do you drive each year and how do you go?
Well,
about
in the camper, for the last 5 years at least, we drive approximately 30,000 miles. And that's not counting
About 3,000 in rental
in
cars.
rental cars, and that's not counting the air miles going to
To and from meetings.
butterfly meetings. We've
Yeah, we
we've
go-
attended almost every Lepidoptera Society meeting since about 1975 or something like that.
That's good. That's perfect because I'm out of tape.
Oh, okay.
I've got 20 seconds left.
Okay.